Jack, you're on.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to share the recommendations of the Unsexy Stuff Working Group on behalf of our leader, Mary Fortier, and members Alexander Carl, Laura Michalski, and Ramesh Reba. And we thank Brad Holtz and Joe Walsh for making this dialogue possible. We took the list from Santa Fe in its rough draft, made several interchanges among the work group, and Mary wrote a 3-page statement that is available in the website. Our main message to the assess community is the unsexy stuff is key. Our main recommendation is that the assess community must learn to simulate what is important to all stakeholders. That's the end of my presentation. For those who aren't convinced, I'll give you several reasons why. In our view, the technologies and tools for building simulations and producing results are in hand, particularly regarding the physics of the systems of interest. Some advancements are needed for simulating humans and cohorts of human beings. Not as well advanced are the ways and means of achieving the benefits of simulation throughout the development and maintenance life cycle of a system, particularly a system large in extent, variety, complexness, and ambiguity. And we say complexness because that's a property of a system. Complexity is a property of the observer and how confused they are when they look at complexness. The big gap is our culture, the way things are done around here. As Walt Kelly's head pogo say, we have met the enemy and he is us. Not the latest slide. Anyway, the rough draft material from the work group said that we need to stop the questioning from upper management. We are too focused on numerical solutions and not on the education of the usefulness of simulation, then providing useful simulation. We have a social inability among us engineers to sort out what users really want to know. And the application of rigorous model validation is generally a disastrous government blotchy throughout our practices. We do not have the degree of error associated with the answer. We do not, in our simulations, estimate the probable error in the results of our simulation. You couldn't get through College Physics Lab 101 without learning to do that. But then you forgot to do it after that. And the final question is, what is the fidelity required? How close must your simulation match the real world? Is it good enough or must it be better? Let's step back a minute. In our view, we suggest that the key purpose of simulation is anticipation. The 3 fundamental steps of design are shown here. First, the discovery of the actual problem and the requirements for an acceptable intervention. Second is the selection and interrelation of a variety of technologies into a minimal implicate order, which is a good design. But we don't know whether any selected configuration will exhibit acceptable results until, third, we anticipate its behavior. Simply staring at a block diagram doesn't tell you what's going to happen when the fit hits the shan. Right? Too many, simulation is seen as a cost item that returns little value too late in a project. We claim that when the unsexy stuff is emphasized, people will recognize that the contribution of simulation to profit is far greater than it is to cost. Of course, the if and only if is the key here. Fidelity, dynamic limits, integrity limits, probable error, and timely results. Memorize those, because if your simulation activity doesn't score 100% on each of those items, you're not with the program. Then we think the simulation community, I've lost track here. Oh, there we are. The simulation community can generate value throughout a system lifecycle in at least 7 distinct ways. We claim that current simulation is mostly concerned with the convergence of design decisions regarding components, with some effort supporting the design and activation phases. But the numbers there in the center column indicate the 7 different kinds of simulation that can be cost-effective and generate profit. Accordingly, we suggest 5 next steps. The second item addresses when is enough simulation been done. By suggesting that we capture data across projects that reveal which system problems could have and should have been anticipated by simulation, reflecting on our own work and the vagaries therein. Until we're willing to do that and to share that with one another, we're probably not going to create the kind of simulations we all want. Finally, we ask the major question, can the assess community be the skillful facilitator of a community-wide appreciation of our unsexy stuff? We certainly hope so. How about a show of hands who would proactively participate in sorting out the unsexy stuff? That's enough. The rest of you can learn. So, here's what happens. Engineering gets all through, and simulation people say it'll never fly. And we never get together after that. So that concludes my report about the working group. Now I'd like to share for about 30 seconds a personal story about the importance of simulation to upper management. In the late 1960s, a PhD senior guy in GE, an acquaintance of mine, got then President Reggie Jones interested in simulation. Reggie was faced with a major decision regarding the nuclear power business. And he talked about he simply couldn't get his mind around that problem. This old geezer showed Reggie a little bit about how to build a simulation, and Reggie then built his own simulation, president of the General Electric Company, of the 2 main reactor technologies at that time, liquid metal versus boiling water. His simulation ran out, anticipated the next 20 years, and revealed, to him at least, a significant finding. He immediately started rapidly phasing GE out of the nuclear energy business and immediately bought close to $1 billion worth of uranium mines in Nevada and Australia. He understood what he wanted simulation for. Thank you.